welcome back to another helpful video from EurekaCrystalBeads.com. Before I get started in today's video, make sure to check out our channel, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. So what we're going to do today is talk about some basic wire working. So I'm going to go over some of the tools that we have, as well as show you how to make some wrapped links that could create a beautiful bracelet or necklace, or that same technique could even be utilized in earrings. So first I'm going to go over what tools we'll be using. So this is a side cutter, and this is going to be used for cutting our wire. And you want to make sure actually when you're using a side cutter, you're only cutting hard types of wire. You may find that it's sharp enough to cut flexible beading wires like soft flex, but you really don't want to use it for that because that kind of wire will actually dull your cutter blade. So keep to hard sterling or craft wires. And next we have round nose pliers. Now they are like two ice cream cones. They are perfectly round and there's no flat edges. So we'll use these whenever we have to make a round shape or a loop of some kind. And lastly, we have chain nose pliers. Now chain nose pliers, as you can see, are flat inside and they're smooth. And they also, if you look at them when they're closed, they taper to a point. Now this is really important because oftentimes people will call these flat nose pliers, and they are not flat nose pliers. That's actually incorrect. Flat nose pliers are a different type of plier that are also flat inside, but they come to a square point. They do not taper. So that is the difference. So these are chain nose pliers, and that's what we'll be using today. So as far as the beads go, you can do this with any bead you want as long as it fits onto the wire you're using. In this particular case, I'm using 24 gauge sterling silver half hard wire. This is a really great versatile gauge to use because it's going to look really good against the sizes of a lot of different beads. And by that I mean that if I put a really tiny bead on here, my wrap might end up looking a bit more bulky than the beads. So the bead isn't what ends up getting shown off. So you always want to make sure you're using an appropriate gauge for not just the whole of the bead, but also visually the size of the bead. So 24 gauge is a really great versatile gauge, and that's going to work really nice with these 8mm Swarovski pearls. So to start off, I'm going to take my chain nose pliers, and again they have that nice flat edge, and about an inch or so into the wire, I'm going to make a nice sharp right angle bend. And you'll notice that I bent it right against my thumb. That's going to give me a nice sharp corner right like that, and that's what we want to see here. So now we're going to move to our round nose pliers, and if you're ever not sure what pair of pliers to use, we're about to make a round shape, therefore we're going to use our round nose pliers. And what you're going to do is you're going to grab that wire right at the corner, and I'm actually grabbing the short tail, but I'm pushing it all the way forward into that corner. And now what I'm going to do is take this tail and I'm going to bring it up and around the round nose pliers. And now to continue that tail of wire, I'm going to just have to shift my pliers out of the way a little bit, and then I can continue on. And you'll notice that the wire started pointing in this direction and it goes all the way around, and now it's ending in the same direction again. So we went one full circle. But one of the things that can happen when we do this, and it's perfectly normal if this happens, is that our little loop doesn't look quite centered on top of our wire here. So what you want to see is something that looks like a lollipop on top of a lollipop stick. So it's a little off center. So that's totally easy to fix. You just stick your round nose back in there, roll your loop over till your loop does look like a lollipop, nice and centered, and then just make sure to bring that tail back down. That 90-degree angle is very crucial in this type of wire working, and it's what will keep your wire working nice and neat and clean. So this is what you want to end up with after these first steps. Something that looks like a lollipop on top of a lollipop stick, and a little tail of wire coming off with a 90-degree angle right here. So now we're going to move back to our chain nose pliers. And again, just like I said before, you'll know to use the chain nose because we're not making a round shape now. The round shape has been created, so we're done with those pliers there. So what I'm going to do is sandwich that loop flat in between my chain nose pliers. And what I find easiest is to have both my pliers and my tail pointing in the same direction, and for me that's also away from me. But you might find you like to hold it towards you or out to the side, whatever's more comfortable. But I do like them pointing parallel. And now what I'm going to do is take that little tail of wire and I'm going to start to wrap it around my little my main wire here. And you want your first wrap to be right underneath that loop of wire. And you'll notice that as I wrap, I maintain that 90-degree angle. That's really important because if I were to break that 90-degree angle and keep wrapping, I'm going to have spaces in between my wraps. And if I break my 90-degree angle back the other way, it's going to overlap a previous wrap. So as long as you maintain that 90-degree angle, your wraps will sit nicely one after the other. Okay, I'm just going to pinch that last little part in there. You can always scrunch them up a little bit if you need to with your chain nose pliers. Chain nose pliers are a really great tool. They're definitely one you want in your toolbox. Now, we're going to go to our side cutters, and we're going to want to cut off that little tail of wire, and we're going to use the tip of our cutters. That way we can get it as close as possible. So I'm just going to cup my hand over it so that wire doesn't go flying across the room or into someone's eyes. And now, no matter how close we cut, there's a little sharp a little edge of wire that's left that the cutter simply can't get close enough to cut off. So I'm going to use my chain nose pliers to just gently tuck it in. Just so it's not sticking out, because you wouldn't want it to scratch anyone's skin or catch on a sweater or a scarf or in someone's hair. So that is the first half. Now we're going to go ahead and stick our bead on. And we're essentially going to repeat the same steps on the other side. It just may look a little different because before this part coming down was a long piece of wire, and now it's a little wrapped loop. So I'm going to now take my chain nose pliers, and I'm going to grab the wire right above the bead. And as far as where to hold it on the pliers, either at the tip or more towards the back of the jaw, that just makes the space for the loops that it's going to have. So we really don't need 15 loops. So we just want to have a little space, enough where we can cram in the same 3 loops that we have on the first side. So I'm going to now take my hand or my finger, and I'm going to bend that 90-degree angle just like we did at the very beginning. Only, like I said, that our tail is just a little bit longer now. So now we're going to make our round loop. So we're going to pick up our round nose pliers, and I'm going to grab right at that corner, though I am technically grabbing this piece of wire here. And I'm going to go up and over, shift my pliers out of the way just a little bit so I can keep going, and then just adjust my loop so I have that nice lollipop shape and that 90-degree angle. Now we've made the round shape, we're done with the round pliers, we're back to our chain nose, we're going to sandwich that loop in between the jaw, and we're going to wrap our loops, or wrap our wraps actually. So I've made my 3 wraps, I'm going to snip off my wire and tuck in that little tip. So that is what a single link looks like. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you would link together 2 links. So I'm going to do those steps just a little bit faster now. Make my 90-degree bend. I'm going to make that loop. Now, before I wrap this loop shut, I'm simply going to take the loop of my link that I just made, and I'm going to slide it right into that loop there. It's sort of like sliding a key onto a key ring. Now, I'll be able to wrap this loop shut with that new link attached. And then we just snip and tuck. And that's how we would join them together. So I'm going to do a few more of these, and I will see you back here in just a moment. All right, so now Okay, so now I'm just finishing up the second side of my 4th bead. You can see I've made some that are all linked together. Now moving, like I said, I'm moving a little faster now. You can always go back to the beginning of the video to see it a little slower and more step by step. Now all you have to do is just keep going as long as you need your project to be. So a few more links and this would be a bracelet. Well, maybe a few more links than a few more links, but you get what the idea is. You go as long as you need to, and you have your bracelet or your necklace or whatever you'd like. And what you would do really just to finish up is on your last bead, before you wrap that loop shut, simply thread a clasp onto that loop. Again, just like a key onto a key ring, it'll thread right in, and then just wrap it shut, and you will have your clasp secured on there as well. And what's great about these wrap loops is that they literally will never come open, which is wonderful because it makes your jewelry really, really secure, and it's not going to break. So, unless of course it would be the clasp that would break, but it wouldn't be this, which is really, really wonderful, and it's a great stress reliever to know that your jewelry is not going to go anywhere. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and keep checking back on the channel for more great videos. Thanks, guys.